Party, Battle Jubilee Secretary General Jeremiah Kioni has discredited the office of Registrar of Political Parties for what he terms as a lack of independence on the Jubilee Party. Further, he says former President Uhuru Kenyatta is here to stay, dismissing the calls for him to retire. Kioni said this on an exclusive interview with the political reporter Elizabeth Mutuku. Listen in.
Thank you so much, Mheshimiwa, for giving me an opportunity to hear your side of the story on Jubilee matters and especially leadership. We've seen back and forth in the party. One faction has this to say, and now our ORPP directive on the whole matter. But I'll start by asking, who exactly is the owner of this Jubilee Party?
The delegates.
The delegates. And yesterday we saw you guys hold a delegates meeting. Your faction, despite of what happened and the stay order by the courts, yet today we saw another letter from, or rather communication from ORPP. What exactly is happening in this party?
I think in the nutshell is to say that, like you have asked, who owns the party? The party belongs to the party members. How do they speak to the leadership of the party? They speak to the leadership of the party through party organs. The organ that the public or the members of the public who have been identified as delegates, they speak through the National Delegates Conference or Convention. And when the party leader saw that there is back and forth between members of NEC, he then saw it necessary, using the powers that have been given to him by the Constitution, to convene an NDC so that the members of the NDC can then decide how do they want to manage their party. That is the meeting that we had yesterday. Convened, the executive, those in the executive have tried to frustrate us, including denying us venues, but eventually we were able to have the meeting at Gong Racecourse yesterday. And we came up with resolutions, and the resolutions were served on the Registrar of Political Party today, and she received them. Before that time, there are people who had gone to various places to try and stop the happening of the NDC. Those other people would want to take over Jubilee through other means. When they went to various places, we went to court to ensure that we are not stopped from having the NDC for reasons that are not genuine. And the court had us and granted us an order to move on. And in other words, they stopped any activity by the other side that was meant to stop the NDC from happening. And the order is here, which was given to us by the court, and the court clearly says that pending inter-party hearing, interim conservative orders are hereby issuing, staying any decision that was meant to stay the NDC. The ORPP is also given orders by the same court saying that you cannot continue receiving correspondences from that other side, and even if you do, they mean nothing to you. That is paragraph 6 of the order. In the course of the day today, when we went to serve the ORPP with the NDC resolutions, I was then given an order, a letter from the ORPP. The letter from the ORPP is communicating to us that there is the resolutions that were arrived at by others have received by the other function, has received an okay from their office, and now we are no longer members of Jubilee. But if you go by the orders are saying anything done outside the NDC resolution is of no effect. That is one of the resolutions that we passed. But what is amazing is that this letter was dated 19th May, because it was literally backdated, if you ask me. It was backdated to the day before we held NDC. When I asked how is it that this letter was issued on 19th May and it was not served to us, the ORPP said, we sent it through your email, so you received it. But it's good to see, one, I received the letter today, being the 23rd of May, and I received it at 2:20 PM, and I received it at a protest.
That means
this is the letter.
After you've done
it comes after we have done the NDC, and in the presence of me, my receiving was a lawyer. But let me also now tell you what is interesting, which is amazing, how our offices can be used in a long way. When you now go to the email, the good thing about electronic service is that you can get the final, including the time. This letter was sent through the email on the 22nd of May.
Mm-hmm. And I hope nobody can zoom this.
I don't know whether she can zoom it. Mm-hmm. This was sent on 22nd of May, 2023, which is yesterday. Mm-hmm. And if you look at the time, you will see that it is 1956. 1956 ni saa moja na dakika 56.
After the NDC.
Jioni usiku tumemaliza NDC. Ndio tunatumia barua ya kusema wewe na wewe mmetolewa. Kwa hivyo haya ni mambo yanafanyika wakati NDC shachukua msimamo wa kusema mambo yote ambayo yalikuwa yanafanyika hapo beleni yamesuluhishwa kupitia resolutions number 1, 2, 3, 4. So we served the Registrar of Political Party with the resolutions. Now we also took this and the order from the court saying that hata kama hii barua ingekuwa imewekwa kisawasawa vile wanasema, already tuko na onda ya kusema hamna lolote unaweza fanya kuizuia ile NDC.
As it stands today, Mr. Kioni and the Secretary General of Jubilee Party, where are we headed with this? Are we likely to get a solution from both factions, maybe sitting down and having a solution over the whole matter?
When the two factions could not sit down, even when convened by the party leader, he called the delegates, National Delegates Conference, to come and say, mugetaka nini na chama chenyu. That is what happened yesterday. So the final position is the decision by the NDC, the topmost organ. And you can see how well it was attended.
And the other faction says the NDC was not convened.
Then the court has said you cannot stop that NDC. They had the opportunity to go to court to stop it, and the court refused to stop it.
Mm-hmm. We saw yesterday President Uhuru Kenyatta, the former president, that is Uhuru Kenyatta, and the party leader is now back in the political scene and is now leading the party from the front. What is his game plan?
No game plan was there, but you cannot continue showing disrespect to people. Allowing the gains that we gave ourselves as a country 2010, through the Constitution of 2010, being taken away by a team of people who wants to take us to one-party dictatorship. If Jubilee is killed, which is the desire of the current executive, because they are the ones behind the people who are pushing this whole agenda, it means that the space that we had, where we can actually say proudly and with a lot of proud with our sufrias on the head, where we are saying the cost of living is too high. Mkate leo asubuhi umeongezwa shilingi 5. Juzi waliongeza pesa ya petroli ikapanda. Maisha, gharama ya maisha haiwezekani. Hiyo platform ambayo tunaitumia kama Jubilee kusema yale tukiwa ndani ya Azimio, hiyo ndio platform inatakikana kufujwa. Na ni vizuri kusema hivi ya kwamba hili jambo tumechukulia kwa uzito. It is a thing that we've taken with a lot of weight, because as a result of this, the bipartisan talks have collapsed. We have a meeting tomorrow at 11 o'clock. And I can tell you, those of us who sit there, it is back to the streets. Not just because of this, but because even the issues we had said must be fixed before we continue sitting. Lowering the cost of living, ensuring that children are back to school, giving back the Inua Mama Jamii, lowering the cost of fuel and electricity. Nothing has been done. To the contrary, the cost has continued to rise. And they are now fighting the platforms that we use to complain on behalf of the public. So the combination of all these issues takes us back to Madama.
The calls are getting
and we are also saying, and I can tell you why even the fear is this. We are saying the finance bill that is being taken to Bunge, when we had they had a PG meeting of UDA, and ironically, our members of parliament went to State House.
They say there is freedom of association.
Freedom of association through the Constitution by respecting people. Remember, it is not you. You are the people's representative who allowed you to that August House through the Jubilee ticket. Jubilee's position is that we cannot pass the finance bill. It is too painful. We cannot allow the cost of living to continue increasing. We cannot sell our parastatus to foreigners. We cannot allow foreigners to come and exploit our minerals here. We cannot allow people to pay 3% housing levy, which is not making sense. That is the position of Jubilee, and the platform that we use is this one. This is why this is now being attacked. To the point, letters are now being done in the night, backdated, to try and regularize an irregularity. And I must thank the courts. Our courts have been very steadfast in ensuring that they remain within the law. They have had
President Uhuru Kenyatta retire from politics and getting off this party have been louder by the day. Is it something maybe you think he should consider? I
think he should continue being actively involved in politics. It is his decision as a Kenyan, a right that has been given to him through Article 38 of the Constitution. There is no reason for him to behave like Kibaki. Kibaki decided to exercise his right by keeping quiet. Uhuru wants to be involved actively. He is not running for any office, but he believes that he can contribute to the well-being of this country.
But he's likely.
We in Jubilee, he doesn't need them. You cannot force me to take benefits so that I don't do X. That's blackmail. In fact, that section of the Constitution is on the law, is unconstitutional, and we will be going to court on it, not because of Uhuru, but because you cannot blackmail me to sell my right. That is, or to forego my right because of X, Y, Z. And you don't think Uhuru Kenyatta should retire from politics? We need him, given he doesn't need the benefit. He doesn't need the benefit. If he has not asked for them, why are you worried about them? Why let the government use them? Kenyans need the money more than anything else. I mean, if there is money that can be available to do X, Y, Z to help others, he's not asking for them. So why are you now complaining that he's not taking his pension? I mean, it's really ironical in this country. And I'm saying this country is short of role model. Uhuru is a role model. He has more work to do outside active politics like a president than when he was a president. We have a generation of young people who are looking upon who is it that we can eager, who is it that we can be like. And he is one of the most loved individuals. You ask me, he's a wonderful role model in terms of how do you serve the public. He never had an onslaught on any institution. And remember, he is the first president under our new constitution, 2010. He endeavored to implement every aspect of it. For 10 years, we have been here with this regime for just 8 months. The gains that we had are all lost. Can you imagine amending the constitution through standing orders to create a position of the leader of opposition in Bunge? Amending the constitution through standing orders to bring cabinet secretaries to the floor of the House? These are issues that were reserved to Kenyans to amend the constitution and have a referendum on them. And can you imagine saying that we can now sell all our parastatus without any local investment and without even consulting Parliament? We are actually being frontiered to slavery because we will be bought by foreigners who have money that can buy the whole country. Mm-hmm. Our pride will be sold on a silver platter for just 10, 30 shekels. You say that Azimio is not going to be, or rather tomorrow you have a meeting following this stalled conversation in the parliament through the bipartisan team. What exactly is the problem in this? Because of dishonesty. We agreed that these are some of the issues that must happen before the bipartisan talks. But Azimio keeps on shifting goals on... I hope we shift them for the benefit of Kenyans. We said we want the cost of living brought down because that's a policy by government. It does not require us sitting. It is the government to decide we are going to subsidize this sugar. 2 kilos of sugar today, 450 shillings. A policy to say, like Kibaki, when he was still injured, broken legs, broken arms, even before he knew where the money was coming from, he made a policy declaration from tomorrow, free primary education for all children. 1 million more children went to school. to help Kenyans with the cost of living requires policy. It does not require our negotiating. It is the goodwill of those people in power. We have not seen anything happening since we started this bipartisan. So there is no need to continue sitting across the table and talking to one another, while we now know that they are only buying time to punish Kenyans more.
We are likely
bring
to go
more,
back to the streets.
Not we are likely, we are going back to the streets.
As soon
we will decide from when tomorrow, but it is back to the streets. Our ski, our ni bubu. Wanaweza sikia tu kama tuko kwa barabara. Because the Jubilee issue becomes a maandamano issue. It is an attack on multipartyism. These are gains we had as a people through the Constitution of 2010. And remember, people died to ensure that we had more parties in this country. How can we allow one person to sit and call the ORPP, toa hawa? We must stop it.
Thank you.
And we can only stop it with the support of Kenyans. Na mimi nawaita wa Kenya, kujeni tupambane na hawa jamaa.
I thank you for that, Elizabeth Mutuku, and we definitely hope to see if both the factions of the Jubilee Party will sit down and iron out their issues. And speaking of ironing out issues, tonight bipartisan talks between Kenya Kwanza and the Azimio coalition have failed to materialize this evening after the Azimio side suspended the talks for 7 days, accusing Kenya Kwanza of insincerity. This is after the two sides failed to table the crucial joint report on IEBC reforms after failing to hold crucial meetings to discuss the way forward. And as the Polycomar reports, the Azimio side wanted the selection panel suspended and the audit of IEBC servers take precedence, a position Kenya Kwanza side refused.
Kenya Kwanza and Azimio coalition bipartisan team emerged from Tuesday's bipartisan talks divided, holding separate press conferences after the talks ended in a stalemate. The two sides maintained